Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Not much detail on Kamalanomics on Tuesday night's debate, of course, because, she is a cipher, and so you rely on political cant, the same sort of sloganeering that you've heard from politicians forever. Opportunity economy, hope, growth, and opportunity.
I grew up in the middle class. When he asked about, is life better than it is 4 years ago, she started talking about how she grew up in the middle class.
Yeah.
Diverted.
But to the extent that she offered specifics, to let her be clear, she's for fracking because she's for fracking and she's for fracking.
I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking.
Fact check.
Good write-up on, no fact check from Muir or Lindsay Davis on that. It deserved one. The tie-breaking vote, as the Wall Street Journal opines, Joe Manchin must be laughing. She's taking credit for a provision in the quote-unquote Inflation Reduction Act that Joe Manchin wrote and the administration tried to sabotage. They're opposed to it. But this was what was required to get Manchin's vote, even though she and the big guy opposed it. She also claimed credit in the debate for the largest increase in domestic oil production in history, the Journal fact-checking. She might as well take credit for the sunrise. Since January of 21, U.S. oil production has increased by 2.1 million barrels a day versus 4 million during Trump's first 3 years before the pandemic caused prices to plunge. Almost all of the production increase under Biden was a bounce back from the pandemic slump. Most has occurred on private and state land in Texas's Permian Basin, much of which has come from tapping what are known as drilled but uncompleted wells that were drilled previously but not fracked because of the market uncertainty. She tries to sound like a friend of frackers by saying the U.S. has to reduce our reliance on foreign oil, and that's just administration speak for subsidizing electric vehicles, the ones she wants to mandate. Because the administration has eased sanctions, oil production from Iran and Venezuela has increased by nearly as much under Biden as U.S. production has. So this administration has been an energy policy disaster. But I got a T-shirt idea.
Oh, what is it?
If Kamala can frack her way to the top, so should be. If Kamala can frack her way to the top, so can Pennsylvania. Yeah, you don't like it?
No.
Just give it a shot.
Very misogynistic of you.
Is it?
No,
For more on this and perhaps other T-shirt ideas, we're pleased to be joined by Scott the Cow Guy Shellady, market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1 p.m., and the Cow Guy Close, 1 to 1:30 p.m., both at RFD TV. Scott, thanks for joining us. Yeah.
All I can say is, what the frack?
Exactly.
Hey-o. Oh, that's a better T-shirt. It's more
There you go.
marketable. Hashtag
Frack.
pound
She
what
can
the
frack her way
frack.
to the top, so can Pennsylvania.
But,
Or why can't Pennsylvania? I don't know. We're working on it. All right. So, hey, Scott, the opportunity economy, the feature of it is $50,000 tax credit for small businesses on the front end before she takes it all away on the back end if they do start a small business with increased corporate income taxes.
Yeah, I'd like to be in the room when a lot of these things were decided. Some of them weren't decided. She did obviously just cut and copy and paste what Biden had planned to do. But I tell you right now, what the big worry is what she'll do to American businesses with some of these taxes, with capital gains being one of them, and the other one, which is unbelievable. And I don't know if America really understands this tax on unrealized gains, but it's unbelievable that can even be a thing. That they're going to try to tax you on gains that you don't actually realize. So if your house goes up by $100,000 from one year to the next, they're going to want you to write them a check for $25,000. That's now I know it's only for people over a certain income, but how many times have we seen this? And it slowly but surely becomes part of the everyday lexicon, and everybody's got to be part of it. I can't, even if it's just for those ultra wealthy people. When you have to sell the building to pay the tax now because it went up in value. I mean, this is where what she's proposing, and Okay, look, you're allowed to change your mind. I get that, but tell us why and how. That's all. Don't just say I kept my values, but I woke up one day and I don't like fracking because I want to get elected. That's really what it is. And I can't believe that the American people can't see through. It's comma chameleon. She is doing whatever she needs to do to try to get elected. 10 weeks ago, they were trying to get her off the ticket because she thought she was dragging Joe Biden down. Now they've exalted her, held her up high as the next coming. And I can't believe that everybody can't see the fact that, Donald Trump, he missed so many opportunities the other night.
He didn't prepare.
Well,
he didn't do his homework.
Let's do ours, and let's be a little specific here. So her tax hikes, the capital gains 20 to 28, 8 percentage point increase. Almost almost a two-thirds increase.
No, that's corporate. That's corporate tax.
No, corporate tax goes from 15 to 28. Capital gains from 20 to 28. Investment income tax from 3.8 to 5. Top income tax rate back to 39.6 from 37, and the unrealized goes from 0 to 25%. So, but hey, you got that $50,000 tax credit on the front end. Isn't that great? So, what would those sorts of tax rates, even setting aside the unconstitutional unrealized capital gains tax, 25%? I mean, it's just astoundingly stupid. But she proposed it, so it's part of it. But just even the bumping the top rate back up, increasing the capital gains from 20 to 28, increasing corporate 15 to 28, increasing investment income tax 3.8 to 5. What would that do?
Well, under Trump, corporations came flooding back to the U.S. This is just going to push them all back to where they were before. They're going to leave. They don't have to stick. Wealthy people and corporations have the ability to move. A lot of poor people don't. So they're just going to up and go. It's going to be like you'll hear the sucking sound coming out of Illinois when people leave to go to Indiana. It's the same thing. And so I don't understand it's like I would like to be in the room because it just doesn't make any sense. They're going to lose their tax base just because they're rich. And how does anybody run a campaign saying, vote for me because I'm going to raise your taxes? That's never been done before either. So this is I am absolutely flabbergasted that the American people don't dismiss this out of hand. And again, she's been there for 3.5 years. She's driving the bus. Take us to where you want us to go. You're in charge. But no, they didn't do it then. They're not going to do it now. And I don't know how anybody could get fooled into thinking that she's not going to frack, even just because she says it.
I know.
Everything she does, her actions go against everything she says.
Well, she started the debate by punting the first question on the economy. Is your life better off than it was 4 years ago? And she went into this spiel about how she grew up in the middle class and never answered the question.
The only people in this country that can say they're better off than they were 4 years ago are illegal immigrants.
Yeah, it's true. They're in a better place and they're getting everything paid for. What about her proposal for first-time homeowners to get $25,000?
Oh my word!
Oh my God!
The dumbest thing I've ever heard of my. Yeah, it's all she did was make house prices go up by $25,000. Thank you very much. I mean, subsidies where my wife comes from, her neighborhood, that's called a bribe, right? Money to change your behavior. This is all pie in the sky. And by the way, we need to remind everybody that we're broke. We're $35 trillion in debt.
They didn't bring that,
right?
that up at all.
No, they didn't. And she's already been proposing another $2 to $3 trillion in spending, and we don't have any money. She's standing in front of the American people arguing about where to put the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Well, something else too. Let's not forget she's from California. And what is the model there? I know she wasn't the governor, but she was a senator, and she's an ally of the political class there. She's been on board for all of the Californication of that state. And Elon Musk had an interesting exchange on All In podcast about building his facilities for Tesla, these gigafactories he's built around the world. California versus Texas and even China. Take a listen to what Musk had to say.
Talk about the difference between California and Texas, where you and I now reside. Texas, you were able to build the gigafactory. I remember when you got the plot of land, and then it seemed like it was less than 2 years when you had the party to open it.
Yeah. From start of construction to completion was 14 months.
14.
14 months.
Is there anywhere on the planet that would go faster? Is like China faster than that?
China was 11 months.
Got it. So Texas, China, 11 and 14 months. California, how many months?
And just to give you a sense of size, the Tesla Gigafactory in China is 3 times the size of the Pentagon.
Which was the biggest building in America?
No, there are bigger buildings, but the Pentagon's a pretty big one.
Yeah, or it was the biggest.
In units of Pentagon, it's like 3.
Okay, 3 Pentagons and counting.
Yeah.
Got it.
In 14 months. Just the regulatory approvals in California would have taken 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
That is the issue, Scott.
I mean, could it be more plain? And that if everybody wants to live in California, that they absolutely should vote her in, because that's what we'll get. They patently don't like the country. They're trying to change the country's face, the tone of the country, and so again, if they can build a factory like that in what he said 13 months in Texas versus it would take 3 years just for the regulations in California. How come? I mean, this is common sense, folks. I mean, I don't understand why people can't see it. It's absolute common sense, but somehow the Democratic Party will get behind somebody like that and make her not look as scary, or make her ideas try to be more. They push all the Democrats to the center for every election anyway, and they'll make it look like she's not a danger. But she absolutely is, with her tax policies, what she wants to do with crime, what she wants to do with the border. And if you want more of the same, you vote for it, you'll get it. That's all I can say.
And but as long as the street gets its rate cut this month, then everything will be hunky dory, at least through the election.
Well, I mean, they've kept this economy together with duct tape and Band-Aids, and it's starting to unravel on them. And yeah, we'll get a 0.25% cut in the rates on the 18th of September this month. The market tried to throw its toys out of the pram per se yesterday, wanting more than that, but that's probably appropriate. But at the same time, the Fed's got to worry about inflation, and we had an inflation indicator that came through yesterday, core CPI, that came in a little bit hotter than expected. Mm-hmm. So if they start cutting rates like the rest of the country wants them to, we're going to have an inflation problem again. Anytime you see an inflation go above 6%, we went up to 9.1. When inflation in a country goes above 6%, 85% of the time, they've seen inflation come back, raise its ugly head again. Now, it happened to us, in the late 70s, early 80s, too. So there's a pretty strong likelihood, 85%, that we're going to see inflation come back. And the way these people are begging for rate cuts, that could be the case. And number two, is cutting rates in September for a November election doesn't smell too good to me either.
Yeah, well, certainly if you don't change your ways, you'll generate the same results. Scott the Cow Guy, market specials for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1. Cow Guy close 1 to 1:30, both at RFD TV. Scott, thanks as always.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Durkin, founding partner of the Martech Group, a global market research firm based in Chicago.